Hello everyone, it's Figure Friday, and here we have a trio from Return of the Jedi. So, of course, we have Han, Leia, and we have Wicket. I've had these sitting here for quite a while. I don't remember when I picked them up. I just know it's been a while here. So, I'm trying to get through and trying to get some of these unboxed that I've had just sitting here boxed for all this time. So we're going to have all three of them all together. I think it's fitting because, I mean, it's all from the Battle of Endor, and here we are. So let's start off with our cocky pilot, Captain Solo. Actually, at this point, it was General Solo. So let's get going with him. You know, I'm just going to say, I think the face leaves a little bit to be desired compared to what Harrison Ford looked like at the time. They were trying here, but I think they got the mold just a little off here. That's just my take on it, but it is what it is. Back card here, this is the commemorative 40th anniversary Star Wars Return of the Jedi figures in the classified Black Series scale 6-inch figure line. So we're going to get these popped open here. Not a lot on the back. It's you know, the whole thing is it's not like the G.I. Joe figures or any of the others. This is Star Wars. So when we had the figures way back when, we didn't have all that extra stuff written on the back like what we do on some of the others. So it's kind of interesting going back to this because I've been doing a lot of the other ones and trying to go back and forth here. Let's get him out of here. Okay. So we have Han with his classic DL-44 heavy blaster. You know, someday I'm going to go through it. I know I've learned it before, but I can't remember what his blaster really was. It was an actual pistol that they had kind of redone a little bit. They threw on the extra piece here. But this was an actual semi-auto pistol. But I can't remember what it was from. Okay. So, he has the nice kind of camouflage trench coat here. You know, kind of cover him up. But underneath, he is just regular, good old-fashioned Han Solo, just being Han Solo. This Corellian pants, he's got the yellow stripe, he doesn't have the red stripe here. There is a difference for what that refers to. The red was for having killed someone of some sort, which he did earn, and the brown with the yellow stripe was a different meaning. I forget what it was though. There was a meaning for that they had added in. The vest, his classic vest, you know, is a little bit on the rubbery side, which does make it easy for movement. He does have a joint here, so let's see. You know, I've been doing this for quite a bit of the other ones. Can they do the sit-ups or not? He doesn't have the sit-up capability when they did this. But, you know, he can kind of go back, he can go forward a little bit. Not quite the sit-up itself, but he can lean forward a little bit. And, of course, he has his classic holster here, and his DL-44 should fit in there nicely. It is nicely cut out here, so it should fit everything. Okay, that goes over. That's why I'm not getting it in there. Okay, let's sit that in there. That does look very nice, and of course this holds everything in ever so nicely. I think that's actually going in where the finger guard is, so it holds everything in there nice. And then that's his communicator from the looks of it. Looking at the back of the belt, that all looks good. Alright, you know, outside of the face being a little off here, it is a nice looking figure. I think they have a lot of good things here. Let's see our standard joints here. Our good old standard ankle, so that allows a pretty good movement, range of motion for trying to get them to stand in different situations. One of the things I've been noting lately is we do not seem to be getting very many of the stands. So if you're trying to get this, you want this up on a shelf or whatever, right now it's not a big deal for me. I don't have the shelf space to put them on, so they're sitting in the boxes or whatever. But if you want to display them, it would be nice to have a stand. They used to give us stands with these. His feet seem to be doing all right on the pool table, but once I get them up on a shelf, I just don't know, depending on the context of how I want them to be sitting. Maybe they're just going to be stagnant like this. Maybe I'm going to have him doing a pose, maybe with his blaster in his hand, whatever. You know, it would be nice to have that plate underneath there to try and help him stand up a little bit better. Okay, so let's look at his knees. He does have the double knee joint, so we can actually do a single and a double. So if you need him to stretch out his leg, you can stretch out his leg. It is kind of nice if you have a character that he's doing a little bit of a kung fu pose, and he's going to snap that foot around to kick someone. Maybe he's got to kick a bucket or something like that. Maybe he's got to get a droid working. He's got to kick the droid to get it going here, or threaten to kick the droid. I don't know. Han's not the biggest fan of a lot of the droids. He'll tolerate some of them, like 3PO. 3PO can get a little eccentric in what he all speaks about. You know, this does come off, so if you want to, you can take this off and just make Han look like classic Han. Okay, so he only has a single elbow. He does not have the double elbow. Although looking at it, it looks like we can bring it up a little extra. So if he's got to talk to someone on a communicator, you could probably do that. But he doesn't have the double elbow. And of course, we do have movement in the wrist. And then right here, just above the elbow, we have this is a ball joint, ball swivel joint here, so we can move his lower arm around. So, okay. And I did notice a little bit of movement in the neck, so we can kind of move the neck forward. So if he's going to look down at something, trying to figure something out on the computer, or if he's going to look up, we can do that. Of course, we have our side to side. Alright, so that gets us classic Han. And the other nice thing is, and we kind of saw that in the package here, we'll get Han standing up here. He looks pretty good. I don't have a problem with that. I'm going to leave this off for now. We're going to grab Leia here. Being at a scale here, one of the nice things that I've noticed is the women and some of the gentlemen or whatever, they are shorter. Some are taller, some are shorter. So someone's taken the time to really kind of notice the height of some of the figures, some of the characters. If they were supposed to be a little shorter, they have them a little shorter. So here we are. Now Leia has a more elegant looking blaster. She does not have the heavy blaster like Han's got. Of course, she's got her helmet here. So I'm trying to push on her back to get her out of here. I'm just having a hard time. There we go. Okay. Alright, so when we get Leia next to Han, which does make sense, Carrie Fisher was 5'2" in comparison to Han's. He was, 6? I think it was 6'1", something like that. So, in comparison, it is kind of nice to see that there is the height differences. I do have some blank enemy kind of figures. I need to get some clothes on them, otherwise they're sitting there without clothes, and I can't show that on YouTube. Alright, so underneath all this, her belt does hold everything on here, but otherwise she has a plain looking top. And she's got her insignia there. Does look nice even without having the poncho liner or poncho on. And of course she's got the yellow stripe going down her pant leg as well. Now her ankles are standard here. You can twist them a little bit, so if she's got a little bit wider stance, we can twist that. Now, I was expecting right here at the top of the boot, like we see with a lot of the gentlemen, but we don't have that. We have a single movement right here at the knee, and it is only a single knee joint, so she can only go there. She has a little bit of a heel there. She's got a little bit more of the classic figures look to how the lower legs, upper legs, lower abdomen go. And we have a movement here. So, alright. Otherwise, when we get to the arms, now because she's a smaller figure, and we do have the wrist, and it can move back and forth. She's got her watch on here, or chronometer, however you want to call it. And she's only got a single joint on the elbow as well. One of the things I'm looking at, okay, so they only have the single joint here. So when we look at some of the other figures in the Star Wars series, like with the clone troopers or whatever, they'll have that double joint here in the shoulder. So you can kind of reach back a little bit more. They don't seem to have that. So, okay. And of course, she's got her hair all done up here, so that way she can put the helmet on. So let's see about putting the helmet on. Okay, so that strap may not fully button up here. Fits a little on the tight side here. Comes around. There. I don't know if that actually buttons or not, but it looks good just coming around there, even if it doesn't button. And actually, this is the helmet style I really like. I really do like how that helmet style is. Okay. Now, let's look at our pistol. Has that nice elongated look to it. And the holster here. So we can put that all in there. Now, I don't really know if this is all going to come off. There are holes here going through that. This can kind of fly up in the back or whatever. So if you had her on a speeder, you could maybe try and get that the prop up so it can look like it's flying back there to look like she's really taken off. But otherwise, I think this belt is fastened on here pretty good. I don't think that's really coming off, which is perfectly fine. In some regards, to me, I kind of wish that would have wrapped all the way around. But it is what it is. Okay, but it is nice sculpting, nice paint job and all that stuff. It looks really good there. All right, see if we can get her to stand. Seems like she's leaning a little back. So if I can get her to lean forward a little bit, maybe if I just have her there. Okay, and then last but not least, we got Wicket. So, oh, and then she fell. Okay, we're going to cheat here a little bit. If at first you don't succeed, cheat just a little. Okay. Getting Wicket out here. Let's see. David Warwick. That's who it is. Now, we've seen David Warwick as so many other characters throughout his acting career. He played Willow. Unfortunately, he's getting a little bit on the older side, though none of us are getting any younger. But he was just a young lad when he was doing Wicket. I have never heard anything negative of David Warwick. I think as an actual person himself, he is very... well, not very, but he is seems to be a kind of upstanding person, kind of not vocal about this or that. Not that I've heard. I try not to get into actors' lives. They have their life, I have mine. You know, we can sometimes look at actors and say, I like the characters that they do, but sometimes you can say, but some of their lifestyles I'm just not the fondest of. or some of the things that they spout off you don't fully agree with, and that's perfectly fine. Because I'm sure that collecting toys like this, probably for some of these actors, and I've heard it, it just boggles their mind. It's like, you know, why do we have guys that are as old as I am still collecting this stuff? Because unfortunately it harkens back to my childhood, and I think in a lot of regards we're always trying to recapture our childhood and say, you know, I have to be an adult and I have to be responsible for others and do the right thing and all that, and I don't have a problem. But every once in a while it's nice to be able to look back on a shelf and remember back to our childhood memories and all the fun times we had with our friends. I think that really gets to be a big thing here. Now, something I never really paid a lot of attention with when we were watching the movies way back when, you know, I've watched a movie I don't know how many times, but they have them with only 3 fingers. So let's see, I can put the arrow in his hand so I can kind of stab people, say, hey, wake up. And we have a club. Now this is all real rubbery, I will say that. These are very rubbery. This makes a lot of sense. You know, so we can put the arrow in there. That's kind of nicely done that way. So you can make it look like he's... And then, of course, he's got a spear, which is what we remember him with, because he was trying to wake up Liea after she fell down. And having the spear, in a lot of regards, helps me because I can sit him here, and I can use that spear to kind of help hold him up a little bit. So that kind of helps. So I can cheat. I can use that spear to help hold him up. And it looks good. And he's that little furball. And, you know, having everyone to scale really works. This is something I really like out of the 6-inch figure scale line, the 1/12 scale. Because when we had everyone at 3 3/4, everyone was the same height until we got to like the Ewoks, and then they were smaller or whatever. Here, everybody's a little different height, so we do have, you know, different availability on that stuff. So it's really kind of nice to see. But, and of course, we got a couple different clubs. I would like to get a couple different Ewoks. I think that'd be kind of fun. But, and then here we are. All right. You know, a nice harken back to the old days of my childhood, the fun times. And this is why I say Star Wars is not dead. We may not like the current series or whatever, but just remember the same thing as old guys had done. You know, save the stuff you love. Go back to the things you loved. You know, we can keep this alive, whatever happens along the way, whether you like the new stuff, you don't like the new stuff, you know, whatever. But we still have our fond memories in doing role-playing games, which is one of the big reasons why I want to get this stuff. You know, I can always have, you know, we can do this on the pool table, although it takes up so much room. You know, we can do this as role-playing games. We can run into these characters. We can keep the adventures going on in our own minds. The same thing we did when we were kids. So we can keep it alive by having fond memories of everything and continuing it that way. Everybody has the right to like what they like, whether it's the new stuff, some of the older stuff, whatever. I know some people didn't care for the prequel trilogy. I didn't mind it. I thought it was nicely done. But there's people that didn't like it, and that's perfectly fine. They deserve their opinion too. So, but it's nice getting figures like this again. So, with that, oh, and something to mention. Not only did they bring it back, but they brought it back and they kept the Kenner line name. Now, Hasbro bought Kenner out many years ago, but the fact that they have the Kenner name on there is really kind of nice, because it really does bring it back to the 40 years ago, where Kenner was the company that had gotten the license to it, and here we have that. So, with that, thanks for stopping by, thanks for visiting. Hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you in the next video.